The average American eats about 18 pounds of bacon a year, so a bad pack isn't just one annoying breakfast. When people buy it that often, the same problem keeps showing up in egg sandwiches, Sunday eggs, backyard burgers, green beans, baked potatoes, and those grocery runs where somebody grabs the cheaper pack because everything else already costs too much. In the cooler, the package can do a lot of selling before you even flip it over. Thick-cut slices, hardwood smoke, rustic words, and a little window showing the best-looking red edge. Then it hits the pan, and the promise starts leaking out as water, foam, curled edges, and rubbery fat. By the time it's done cooking, that full-looking pack can leave you with a sad little pile of shriveled strips. Too many brands know how to make weak bacon look better in plastic than it performs over heat. Some lean on a small-town image to make factory bacon feel more personal. Others look cheap until the skillet shows how little cooked bacon you actually bought. Today, we're counting down the top 10 grocery store bacon brand shoppers should think twice about before dropping them into the cart. Before number 10, tell us in the comments which bacon brand you officially stopped buying, because some of the worst packs are still ending up in carts every week. Number 10, Wright Brand. Wright Brand looks like the bacon you buy when you are tired of cheap strips falling apart in the pan. The package feels heavy, the slices look thick, and the Texas Smokehouse language makes the whole thing feel like a real upgrade before breakfast even starts. A 24-ounce pack can land near the $12 range at major retailers, so most shoppers do not treat Wright like bargain bacon. They expect better pork, cleaner rendering, and a strip that feels different from the ordinary 1-pound pack stacked below it. Wright's own brand story goes back to Vernon, Texas in 1922, back when the business began inside a local grocery operation and the bacon image felt tied to a smaller place. That history still does a lot of work on the package. Nobody standing under grocery store lights imagines a national meat giant when the front label is talking like an old smokehouse. Wright Brand belongs to Tyson Foods. Tyson reported more than $54 billion in fiscal 2025 sales, so this is not a tiny Texas shop trying to keep an old family recipe alive against the big guys. That changes the way the price should be judged. $12 bacon has to prove more than thickness. A thick slice can still carry hard white fat that adds weight in the package and turns into the part people chew around at breakfast. Premium bacon should not make you flip the same strip 5 times, trying to brown the lean meat without leaving the fat rubbery. Wright's cured bacon still lives in the same modern toolkit shoppers see across the mass market aisle: water, salt, sugar, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Sodium phosphate matters here because it helps meat hold moisture, and moisture is not something you want to pay premium money for when the skillet is going to push it back out. A cheaper pack can disappoint you and still feel honest about what it is. Wright is more annoying because the whole buying moment tells you that you upgraded. The front label gives you smokehouse pride. The price tag gives you premium expectations. The pan can still give you chewy fat, salty edges, and enough grease to make the Kraft feeling disappear before the eggs are done. Wright does not fail by being the nastiest bacon in the cooler. It fails when $12 bacon leaves you cutting around rubbery white fat like you paid for the logo instead of breakfast. Number 9, jennie-o turkey bacon. Jennie-o turkey bacon sells relief before it sells flavor. Somebody hears a doctor mention cholesterol, sees pork bacon as a guilty food, and reaches for turkey because the word sounds lighter. Turkey already feels like lean sandwiches, gym lunches, Thanksgiving breast meat, and the kind of swap a person makes when they are trying to behave. Jennie-o does not have to scream health claims for the product to get that halo. The animal name does half the work. The first issue is basic anatomy. A pig has a belly with natural layers of meat and fat that can be cured, smoked, sliced, and fried into bacon. A turkey does not grow a neat belly slab that turns into breakfast strips. Turkey bacon has to be built. Manufacturers take turkey, season it, bind it, color it, smoke it, or flavor it, and shape it into long, flat pieces because shoppers expect bacon to look like bacon. Jennie-o's own nutrition panel lists a 15-gram serving at 30 calories with 130 milligrams of sodium. That sounds small until real breakfast portions show up. 4 little strips can put you around 260 milligrams of sodium before the bread, egg, cheese, sauce, or hash browns join the plate. A turkey bacon sandwich does not stay light just because the package started with a small serving size. Texture gives away the rebuild. Pork bacon has contrast because fat and lean meat cook at different speeds. Jennie-o turkey bacon tends to feel smoother and more uniform, closer to a thin processed deli strip than a piece of cured belly. The bite does not snap in the same way. The smell does not fill the kitchen in the same way. The pan does not get that slow render that makes pork bacon feel like breakfast instead of warmed protein. Moisture plays a different role here too. With cheap pork bacon, water often feels like plumping. With turkey bacon, moisture also helps hold together a strip that was never a strip in the first place. Heat can make it sweat, curl, and soften without ever giving the clean crisp people wanted when they made the swap. Turkey bacon can be useful for people who avoid pork for religious, personal, or dietary reasons. That does not give Jennie-o a free health pass. A shopper trying to escape processed meat should not be tricked by a different animal on the front of the pack. Jennie-o sells the feeling of making a smarter choice, then hands you a salty, reconstructed poultry strip that still belongs in the processed meat conversation. Number 8. Farmland. Farmland has one of those names designed to make people stop asking questions. The word alone does the decorating. A shopper sees farmland and pictures fences, barns, cold morning air, and a smaller American place where pork still feels close to the people raising it. The brand website leans into that feeling with language about hand-selected bacon and slow smoking. That image feels warm in the cooler. The ownership story feels much colder. Farmland sits under Smithfield, and Smithfield was acquired by China-based WH Group in a deal valued around $4.7 billion for shareholders and about $7.1 billion including debt. A bacon package called Farmland starts to feel different when the brand is part of one of the biggest pork systems on the planet. Ownership alone does not decide whether a slice tastes good. It does make the Red Barn feeling harder to swallow. Farmland's classic bacon ingredient listings show the ordinary mass market curing language: water, salt, sugar, sodium phosphates, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Those words are not the sound of a farm breakfast. Those words are the sound of processed bacon built for scale, consistency, and shelf life. Sodium phosphate deserves attention because it helps meat hold water. That extra held moisture helps the raw package look heavier before the bacon reaches a skillet. The shopper pays by raw weight, not by cooked breakfast. When the pan starts pushing that water out, the deal changes. A pound of raw bacon is not a pound of bacon on the plate. Farmland's weak point is not that every strip tastes terrible. The weak point is the distance between the name and the cooked experience. The package gives you rural trust. The back label gives you water, phosphates, and nitrite. The skillet can give you a wet surface, popping grease, and strips that steam before they brown. Anyone who has cleaned bacon splatter off a backsplash knows bad bacon does not just taste worse. It makes the kitchen harder to deal with before anybody even sits down. Farmland gets especially frustrating because the name asks for trust before the product earns it. A shopper looking for honest, simple bacon should not have to decode a global ownership trail and a water retention cure behind a word as soft as farmland. The farm name works before the shopper checks who owns the brand or what the cure actually contains. Heat exposes the pack in stages: water first, grease second, and the real meat to fat ratio last. Number 7, Hormel Black Label Original. Hormel Black Label gets picked up because people already know the package. A familiar logo works like a shortcut in the meat aisle. A shopper who grew up seeing Hormel in the fridge may not compare it carefully against newer brands, cheaper brands, or thicker brands. The name already passed an emotional test years ago. Hormel has deep roots in American processed meat. The same company made Spam famous by turning pork into food that could travel, last, and sell cheaply. Black Label Bacon carries that processed meat confidence into the breakfast cooler. The issue shows up when nostalgia meets the nutrition label. Hormel Black Label Original lists a serving as 2 pan-fried slices with 370 milligrams of sodium. A real breakfast often does not stop at 2 slices. 4 slices puts the bacon alone around 740 milligrams of sodium. A BLT can run 5 or 6 slices before mayonnaise, bread, pickles, chips, or soup enter the meal. That serving size makes the numbers look manageable in a way real eating can blow apart in seconds. Salt does more than season bacon. Salt cures, preserves, sharpens the first bite, and covers up weak pork flavor. When bacon tastes aggressively salty, the tongue gets hit before it can judge whether the meat has depth. A brand can hide plenty behind that sharp cured punch. Hormel also benefits from memory. People remember a black label, a childhood fridge, a diner taste, a weekend breakfast, or a parent pulling strips out of the package. Memory can protect mediocre bacon longer than flavor should. Nostalgia does not stop thin strips from curling, tearing, or turning salty before they turn crisp. Some packs cook unevenly, with strips that curl fast, tear when separated, or give you thin, crunchy sections attached to fatty bends that refuse to crisp. The brand name still feels sturdy. The strip may not. Hormel's ingredient list includes the standard cured bacon setup, including water, salt, sugar, dextrose, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Dextrose helps balance curing and flavor, but it also reminds you that this classic package is still a modern engineered meat product. A familiar brand can be comforting. Comfort gets expensive when it keeps people from checking sodium, slice thickness, and cooked quality. Hormel survives because people remember the package before they taste the strip, and nostalgia can make salty, uneven bacon feel safer than it deserves. Number 6. Oscar Mayer. Oscar Mayer has more legacy than almost any bacon brand in the cooler. The company helped move packaged meat into the grab-and-go supermarket era, back when bacon was becoming less tied to the butcher counter and more tied to sealed plastic convenience. That history still matters because people treat Oscar Mayer like a reliable household name. A century of familiarity can make a shopper lower their guard. Oscar Mayer now sits inside Kraft Heinz, one of the biggest packaged food systems in the country. The old school bacon name is backed by national scale production, national scale distribution, and national scale consequences when something goes wrong. The pork bacon in the breakfast pan is not the same as Oscar Mayer turkey bacon. Still, the broader brand's turkey bacon recalls show how much trust shoppers place in a giant meat supply chain. In 2015, Kraft Heinz recalled more than 2 million pounds of Oscar Mayer turkey bacon because it could spoil before the best when used by date. In 2025, USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service announced a recall of 367,812 pounds of Oscar Mayer turkey bacon original because of possible listeria contamination. Those recalls do not mean the pork bacon in your cart is automatically unsafe. They do mean a national meat brand deserves more scrutiny because one production problem can reach thousands of refrigerators before shoppers even hear about the recall. Scale changes the food conversation. A small local problem may affect a few customers. A national processing problem can send warnings into refrigerators across states and even overseas markets. Oscar Mayer pork bacon also relies on the same visual cues most supermarket bacon uses. A bright pink cured strip can look fresher than it really feels after cooking. Sodium nitrite helps preserve color and cure the meat, which makes bacon look familiar and appetizing in plastic. Color does not cook breakfast. A bright pink strip can still dump water, curl unevenly, and taste more like cure than pork. Oscar Mayer center cut and thick cut packages may sound like upgrades, but the shopper still has to inspect the slices. Center cut can mean a leaner section, yet it does not erase added water, curing agents, or uneven fat bands. Thick cut can mean a better bite, or it can mean thicker rubbery fat. Oscar Mayer helped make supermarket bacon convenient. That old trust does not make today's water-cured nitrite pink package cook any cleaner. Number 5. Great value. Great value does not need Barnes nostalgia or smokehouse romance. The Walmart price tag does the talking. When grocery bills feel ugly, a cheaper bacon pack looks like practical survival math. A family comparing a $4 pack against an $8 pack may feel like the decision has already been made before they touch the package. Great Value's trap starts with raw weight. Bacon should never be judged only by what it weighs before cooking. USDA food safety guidance says cooked bacon yield is about 40% of raw weight, and USDA research data found baked and pan-fried bacon averaging around 31% cooking yield. That means a 16-ounce raw pack can leave a much smaller pile of actual cooked bacon than the package suggests. A cheap raw pound can become a few cooked ounces once water leaves and fat renders. The shelf price looks good because the comparison happens too early. Nobody at the cooler is holding a calculator and asking what the cooked ounce will cost. They see the Walmart label, the familiar 1-pound size, and the word value. The skillet changes the math because the shopper paid for 16 raw ounces, not the much smaller pile left after rendering. Private label bacon depends on suppliers and co-packers rather than a single public-facing bacon maker with a romantic backstory. That setup makes sense for a giant retailer. It also means the product is built to hit a price point first. Every slice has to fit the math Walmart wants on the shelf. Great Value's ingredient listings usually follow the expected industrial route: pork cured with water, salt, sugar, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Water and phosphate matter more here than the brand story. Moisture held in raw bacon can make the package look like a bargain before cooking. The same moisture can turn the pan into a boiling stage before browning even begins. This is where budget shoppers get hurt. A person may buy one pack expecting breakfast for the family, a couple of sandwiches, and maybe a baked potato topping later in the week. After cooking, the actual usable bacon may not stretch anywhere near that far. The strips shrink, the pan fills. The paper towel absorbs half the evidence. Another grocery run becomes more likely, and the cheap pack did not really save what it promised. Great Value looks cheapest before breakfast starts. Once half the purchase leaves as steam and grease, the real price per bite gets harder to defend. Number 4. Smithfield Hometown Original. Smithfield Hometown Original uses one of the most powerful words in grocery branding: hometown. That word makes pork feel close. A shopper sees it and thinks of local pride, family tables, small places, and food that belongs to somebody's community. Smithfield is not small. The company's Tar Heel facility in North Carolina has been described as the largest pork processing plant in the world, and reports tied to the facility say it processes more than 30,000 hogs a day. That scale makes hometown feel less like a place and more like packaging language. Smithfield's problem is not only what happens in the pan. The product also shows how industrial pork can be wrapped in local comfort. A shopper eating bacon in one state may never see the plant capacity, trucking, odor complaints, waste pressure, or community fights that can sit behind large hog systems. The package keeps those costs far away from breakfast. The bacon window creates another issue. Many supermarket bacon packs show a controlled section of the slices, and the visible lean edge can make the whole pack look meatier than it really is. A shopper who only checks the front can miss the heavier white bands hiding toward the back. The front view becomes the highlight reel, and the back of the package is where the fat usually confesses. That kind of package design gives the best looking part of the slice the best chance to sell you. Smithfield Hometown Original still uses the familiar cured bacon system: pork, water, salt, sugar, phosphates, erythorbate, and nitrite. Those ingredients do not automatically make the product unusual. They make the word hometown do more emotional work than the bacon deserves. A hometown product should not require the shopper to flip the pack around like a detective checking evidence. If the back window shows wide white bands, the front window already did its job. If the slices look uneven before cooking, heat will not magically fix them. If the pan fills with liquid before browning starts, the hometown feeling will not save breakfast. Smithfield's package sells closeness. The operation behind it runs at a scale most shoppers would never connect to that word. Number 3, Bar S. Bar S sits in the cooler for shoppers who do not have much room to negotiate. This is bottom shelf bacon built for carts where every dollar already has a job. The brand's reputation is value, and value sounds harmless until the product has been engineered around the lowest possible price point. Bar S is owned by Sigma Alimentos, a major food company based in Mexico, and the brand has long been known for inexpensive packaged meats. Hot dogs, bologna, lunch meat, and bacon all live in the same budget meat world here. The business works when huge volume makes tiny margins worth chasing. Great Value plays the raw price game. Bar S leans harder on flavor theater. Ingredient information for Bar S bacon has listed a cure that includes water, salt, sugar, smoke flavor, sodium phosphates, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite. Smoke flavor is the clue that changes the whole breakfast. Traditional smoked bacon spends time with actual smoke. Cheap bacon can use smoke flavor to create the smell cue without the same time, wood, handling, or depth. Smoke is powerful because it hits memory fast. People smell it and think of diners, grills, campfires, and weekend mornings. A weak strip can taste more convincing if smoke flavor and salt hit hard enough. That does not mean the pork underneath got better. It means the loudest signals reached your tongue first. Texture is where Bar S struggles. A budget strip can bend, chew, and fight back instead of crisping cleanly. Cook it longer and the lean sections darken before the fatty parts behave. Leave it shorter and the strip can feel limp and greasy. A good piece of bacon gives you meat, fat, smoke, salt, and crisp edges in balance. Bar S often makes smoke and salt carry too much of the job. This brand also exposes an uncomfortable truth in the grocery aisle. Low-income shoppers often get sold the weakest versions of familiar foods. The package gives them the smell and shape of bacon, but the quality ceiling is low. Nobody should mock people for buying what fits their budget. The criticism belongs on the product strategy. Companies know a cheap pack can make a family breakfast feel normal for a few dollars. They also know the buyer may not have the money to reject a bad product. Bar S leans so hard on smoke flavor and salt that the pork almost becomes background noise. Number 2, Gwaltney. Gwaltney sounds older than most bacon brands in the cooler because it is. The name goes back to Virginia in the 1800s, and age gives food brands a quiet advantage. Old names make shoppers imagine continuity, even when the modern package comes from a much larger processed meat system. Modern Gwaltney is part of Smithfield. The family brand feeling survived, but the product is not coming from a little Virginia smokehouse selling bacon down the road. Gwaltney's most frustrating trick is slice count. A package can look generous because it gives you more pieces. For a parent trying to stretch breakfast, more slices feels like more food. 4 kids hear bacon, and the person cooking wants everybody to get a strip. Thin slicing turns that pressure into a package trick. Gwaltney's own product information for a 48-ounce hardwood smoked sliced bacon lists a serving as 1 fried slice weighing 12 grams with 250 milligrams of sodium. That number tells you how thin the serving really is. 1 12-gram fried slice is not a hearty breakfast portion. 3 slices can put you around 750 milligrams of sodium before eggs, biscuits, cheese, gravy, or toast. A high slice count can make the package feel generous, while each cooked strip delivers very little substance. Thin bacon has almost no forgiveness in the pan. Turn the heat a little too high, and it jumps from limp to scorched. Leave it too low, and it sits in grease without developing a clean bite. Try to flip it too soon and the strip tears. Drain it on a paper towel and the fragile pieces can break into salty shards. Thin slicing also changes flavor balance. Because each slice has so little body, salt and smoke hit harder than the pork. A thicker strip can carry chew, fat, crisp edge, and meat flavor at the same time. A weak, thin strip becomes mostly surface area for cure and heat damage. Gwaltney often appears in budget-focused stores, where slice count psychology works even better. A shopper under pressure may choose the pack that looks like it feeds more people. The skillet then turns that promise into burnt lace, torn scraps, and pieces too thin to feel satisfying. Gwaltney's trick is making a pile of thin slices look like abundance before heat exposes how little bacon was really there. Number 1, Jamestown brand. Jamestown brand sits at the harsh end of the bacon aisle. Nobody buys it expecting a premium breakfast experience. People buy it because the price can fit inside a painful grocery budget. That deserves respect. A cheap bacon package can mean a lot to a household that cannot afford the better pack. The smell of bacon in the kitchen can make a weekend morning feel normal when money is tight. Jamestown's weakest products show how far bacon can fall when the product is built around irregular cuts, added water, and the lowest possible shelf price. Some Jamestown products are sold as bacon ends and pieces, which tells you where the value comes from. Ends and pieces are the irregular cuts, leftovers, and uneven chunks that do not fit neatly into prettier sliced packs. Using scraps is not automatically bad. A good cook can use bacon ends in beans, greens, soups, collards, baked potatoes, or seasoning. That kind of product can make sense when the shopper knows exactly what they are buying. Trouble starts when people expect breakfast strips. A bag of uneven pieces does not cook like sliced bacon. Tiny lean bits burn quickly. Large fat chunks melt slowly. Random shapes make timing impossible. You do not get a pan of strips, you get a grease puzzle where small meat pieces darken before the fat chunks even finish rendering. Jamestown ingredient listings for sliced bacon and bacon ends show the cheaper cured meat pattern. Bacon cured with water, salt, sodium phosphates, sodium erythorbate, and sodium nitrite, with sugar or brown sugar sometimes listed as possible additions. No fancy smokehouse story softens the label. No premium language distracts from the economics. The product is low on the bacon ladder, and the pan usually knows it. The fat-to-meat ratio can be brutal. A shopper who sees more white than red through the package should take that as a warning, not a bargain. Heat will not turn a mostly white pack into a meaty breakfast. Heat only makes the ratio harder to ignore. Water comes out first. Fat floods the pan. Lean fragments go dark. The final plate can look like a few brittle pieces surrounded by enough grease to make the original price feel less clever. Jamestown shows the part of the meat aisle companies rarely say out loud. The cheapest packs often land in the carts of shoppers who cannot afford to gamble on a better brand, which makes low quality more frustrating, not less. The shopper is trying to feed a household while the brand is selling the lowest tier of the pork chain as breakfast. Jamestown is where every bacon shortcut lands at once. Scrap cuts, added water, cheap curing, unstable cooking, poor meat ratio, and a price low enough to keep people buying anyway. Bacon companies count on fast decisions. They know shoppers respond to red barns, old names, big slice counts, black labels, health halos, and low prices. A smarter shopper flips the pack over. A smarter shopper checks the fat. A smarter shopper knows breakfast does not care what the front label promised. Drop the bacon brand sitting in your fridge in the comments. Subscribe if you want more grocery breakdowns that save money before the food even hits your cart. We'll catch you in the next one.